So as promised, I would do another video on doing a new hack here. And what I wanted to do is jump height or a fly hack. And I said I'd get back to you once I figured that part out so I could show you how I figured it out and then go through the process of adding something to the hook. And I'm at a point here where I think I'm ready to do it. So what I've been doing since the last video is going through the code in Ghidra, looking around, seeing if I can find some where the reference is to that particular variable and so on. And well, in the process of doing that, I eventually stumbled on this game world here. I think I got it through searching, something along those lines. In any event, yeah, I was looking for variables that were associated with jump hold time. There's this get jump hold time function here in the player class. And so I was looking for references to that, and in that jump hold time class, it takes M remote look rotation on the Z axis. So I traced that back until eventually I found this game world method, and I found that it contains a lot of references. We actually saw this before. We happened to stumble across this before in like the first or second video when we started using Ghidra, and I said that this looks interesting, but it looks like it's related to player setup. It is, because I mean, here's the reference to Lost Cave, and here we are setting our walking speed, jump speed, and hold time to 0. So we're just initializing all of these variables here. But when I noticed that the game world method here had this information in it, I assumed that it had to do something with the player as well, because this is setting up the player. It's game world, but it's setting up the player, right? So the two are related somehow. So I checked this address out in Cheat Engine. I went back and forth a little bit, poking around in the memory areas and so on, and going back and forth. Here is the address to game world, just so that I could easily reference the address later. And poking around in there, I went back to some of our first videos when we were using Cheat Engine and we were looking for the mana variable. Well, as it turns out, that mana variable was also embedded in the pointer paths for variables in Game World. So connecting those two dots, it led me to believe that this Game World holds an object for player instantiation. So the Game World instantiates a player object. The player object has attributes associated with it, attributes like our mana and health, but also walking speed and so on and so forth. So after some poking around a little bit more, I found where that section begins. And right now the offset for that, for me, is 2C from Game World. So let me show you what I mean. Game World, in this memory address, 79BD, 7D, 7C, the top of Game World, I wanted to make sure that I had that relative offset and I'm not using the hard-coded memory address, because that could change if the base address changes. So doing a little quick maths, game logic DLL plus 97D7C gets us to the top of Game World. And then after a little bit more poking around, I found that player is 2C plus 2C from that. So doing a little bit more math and getting the relative address to the top of game logic for FFCO. Okay. And then I was looking around for the jump hold time after that. But going back here to the mana pointer here as it is. Oops. So what I started out with is game logic DLL plus 97D7C. So that gets us to the top of Game World once again. Then we have this one here. So then we have that. This is game logic DLL plus that, plus the 2C. All right, that gets us to a new memory address. And then BC offset from that, the next pointer path BC offset from that, is where I found, as you can see here, the same address here for our mana variable. So this is one of the ones that we originally found in our first cheat engine playthrough, and this is a new pointer scan result. I mean, these are both pointer paths, but they're both pointing the same place because I basically did the math two different ways and arrived at the same result. So now I know that I have found the top of our player. Now it's just a matter of trying to figure out where the rest of those variables are associated. And I found, let me Control Z here, get this back to normal. What I found here is that same mana. What I was looking for is a way that I could plug in different pointer paths to find these different variables. So here we are, game logic plus 97D7C. First offset 2C, that's the top of our player object. Next offset BC, that gets us to mana. So then it's just a matter of figuring out what value in this second position or second, third position or whatever gets us to these other places and where they happen to be. So it was more or less a matter of just looking around again in the code. So if we take these pointer scan results here, we can look around and see where they reference in the code. But obviously these memory addresses are outside of GameLogic DLL. But suffice to say that trying different pointer paths and doing, I mean, you can pointer scan as well. What I found is that GameLogic 97D7C, 2C for the player object, and then the next pointer path 128. I landed on this float that is kind of unusual. It was 0.2, but it's a positive value, right? The jump height has to be a positive value, otherwise when we hit space we would go down instead of up. And with that value, of course, we try this out here. We got our regular jump height. And then if I modify that, if I go to just add 10 and hold down space, and there we go, right? We've found the value for our jump height. That's what we were looking for. So now all I need to do is put this into our hook so that I can toggle it off and on, and I can do regular jumping or I can do the super jumping as needed, right? I might change this a little bit because it's just super jumping. It's not flying yet, but it's enough that I can shoot this video, get it out for you and everything. And honestly, it's about as useful as I need it to be because it's not as if jumping is really all that important in the game. But I have it now. The problem is that in the first time we did this, here, let me get rid of this. The first time we did this, we are overwriting a static address. So it's module base plus this offset will always be that 3.0 float for our speed. And now this time we have pointer paths that we have to use, right? But that's fine. I'll just show you how to do that because we have that. First of all, module base will equal whatever the address here in Cheat Engine is, quote, gamelogic.dll, end quote, which means that we need this. And that's our offset, right? This curly brackets here at the end, that's where we would normally put our pointer paths. We just didn't have one for the first one, which is why it's blank. But now we do have paths to follow. So here and between the curly brackets, we'll do hex 2C. Hex 2C, that gets us to the top of our player class, or a player object, I should say. And then it is hex 128? Yes, 128. And that then should point to the right value. I'm going to put our float jump at 10 because that's what I just set it to, and it seems like it's about right for what I'm looking for. So I'm going to change that jump value to 10. And then that means that basically we're going to copy and paste our code here for the speed hack. Paste that in here, and we're going to do jump hack on, jump hack off. We need to change the values here. To this. Probably could put this in a variable and save myself a little bit of time and effort. Okay. All right, so now we've got our new jump value. We have our location for jump. We have this. We have this. We don't need this. Extra curly bracket in there. And seems to me like that ought to do it. So let's save our solution. And we'll build it. Okay. Now I'm going to copy that over. Oh, I'm going to need to close the game client because I already have this running. So close that. Okay. And I'm going to overwrite our former phone hook DLL. Okay, let's start the game client back up. Attach, inject that DLL and see if we've got a jump hack. Okay, we're back in the game. We got regular jump style, and now cheat engine, attach the process. Okay, and now that we're back attached to our Pwn Adventure process, we can see here that with the saved address list that I had, updating those results, we are back. We can see that there's our value from before, right? The game logic address is the same as the last run, but it doesn't have to be. But we can see that we at least have our same results. Now this is important because pointer paths can change each time a program runs. Typically speaking, the shortest pointer paths will not change each time the client runs, but sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it's hard to find a short pointer path. So we'll go to memory view. Here's our memory view, tools, inject DLL, inject the new DLL. Yes, DLL injected. Okay. I'm going to put the window here off to the side so you can still see it. Okay. We can see the current GHT, the jump height, is 0.02, which means that value is being read from inside our DLL. So that's a good sign. It means that it seems like we did find the right address and we didn't make a mistake in our code. So regular jump height, F2, jump hack off. I got to change that. But there you go. Apparently my off and on are flipped. But yes, it did turn on. We do have that. So it worked. So now I've got jump hack. And if I turn on my speed hack, there we go. Speed hack and jump hack at the same time. I am flying. Amazing. Okay. Speed hack off. Jump hack still on. Yep. Okay. Jump hack off. Okay. For some reason it said jump hack off. Oh, it's saying off every time. Apparently, I did make a mistake, and... Oh, hold on, no. I can't turn it off. Oh, okay. Well, apparently there's one thing I need to fix up, which is I guess I can't turn it off once I turn it on. But it's probably just a logic error in the code. I'll go and fix it up off camera. There's no need for that. It will function more or less the same as the speed hack does, where we can toggle it off and on. So yeah, now our quality of life improvements are done. We can move fast, we can jump high, and that means that we are ready to move on to the first actual mission in the game, which I believe is the Unbearable Revenge quest. The first thing we need to do is get killed by the bears. So, all right. And in order to get Unbearable Revenge, we need to first stop along the way and get the achievement. That's team members. That's inventory. There we go. Achievements. We need to get the right to arm bears, get gunned down by a bear. You don't want to miss this one. Otherwise, you won't be able to get Overachiever. So make sure that you watch the next video in order to figure out how to get killed by the bears before you actually solve the puzzle for Unbearable Revenge. Okay? Then that's it. Take care. Have a nice day.